Hey, welcome everybody. My name is Terminus, and today we are going to start a new series, which is Techhnolyze. At least that's how I think it is pronounced. I'm not sure. Maybe I've been mispronouncing it all this time in my head and in the update video and whatnot. But this has been a request of Cardboard. Thank you very much, Cardboard, for the support of like the big tier a couple of months ago, and thanks for your patience. We do have a new slot right now, and this is where it's going in at the very least. It is kind of, right? I said that, or I wrote it in my posts on YouTube as well as on Patreon already, that we are going to rotate Monster and Techhnolyze for as long as Techhnolyze is going. And it's going to be bi-weekly, and I do hope that I can deliver most of the time 2 episodes of Techhnolyze back to back, and 2 episodes of Monster back to back. Not always, mind you, sometimes there's gonna be a single episode because of just how much time I have in recording and whatnot, but we're in it for the long haul on Monster, and we're in it for the long haul on Techhnolyze. Techhnolyze is going to be probably, I think, 22, maybe even 28 episodes. I have to look that up again, but it is around like the 20s and it's below 30, I know that. And it's gonna be a whole lot of fun, I hope. So, what do I know about Techhnolyze? I have seen, boom, the cover art of Techhnolyze, at least like the alternate cover art and whatnot. Obviously, I've done research there and found something where I can actually get the subtitles done and all of that. I'm not gonna look into the names of the main characters and the side characters and whatnot. We do see like the director, who is Hiroshi Hamasaki, and he has done a couple of prolific things, or at the very least he was involved in a couple of prolific things, both before Techhnolyze, so this is not his first rodeo, and after Techhnolyze as well. We are looking at Key Animation at Perfect Blue, which is an insane movie, by the way. If you haven't seen that one, go check it out. Vampire Hunter D animation director is actually, interestingly enough, one of the suggestions one of my friends actually made, which didn't win in the movie polls, but maybe one day we're gonna check it out and watch it. Spriggan, I heard some stuff about. I haven't actually seen that one, so very interesting. After that comes Techhnolyze. We do apparently have a Matrix, Animatrix. Something about that seems familiar, but maybe I'm just confusing it. Interesting. Yeah, beyond that we do have Claymore. I heard about Claymore, seen a couple of scenes from it, but not more than that. We do have Trigon. Oh, they were actually involved in like storyboarding on the Tatami Galaxy movie thing, or what one is that? Which one is that? Yeah, no, this is Tatami Galaxy, like the classic one, right? Or am I wrong here? Am I just fucking confusing that? Yeah, English title Tatami Galaxy. Amazing, by the way. Just check it out. There's also like a sequel, which is like Tatami Time Machine or whatnot. Also great. I don't even know if I've seen that one to the end though, because that was a phase in my life where I like got interrupted and didn't watch anime for some time. So maybe I'll have to recheck that out. If I haven't seen all of them, maybe I'll just impromptu react to the last couple of episodes if I haven't seen those. We have some Steins Gate. I think that's the movie actually, with like the deja vu whatnot. Or is that the OVA? Let me see. 130 popularity. Studio White Fox, obviously. Yeah, the movie. That's Steins Gate, the movie. We have Chief Director of. What's that? Yeah, the Steins Gate OVA. And actually episode director on Steins Gate. That is amazing. I mean, after Techhnolyze, mind you, way after Techhnolyze. When did Techhnolyze actually come out? Well, I already got it open in the other one. Doesn't matter. 2003, and Steins Gate and Tatami Galaxy, for the comparison, they came out in 2011 and 2010 respectively. So that has been quite a while after he was director on Techhnolyze. Either way, though, that is really cool to know that the same person made that. We have some storyboarding on Sangatsu no Lion, some key animation on the OP of Made in Abyss Season 1, supposedly. Key animation on both OPs for Sangatsu no Lion Season 2, and key storyboarding for Shingeki no Kyojin Episode 9. Not sure what Episode 9 was again. I think it was way after the conflict and whatnot. Like shortly before like all of the shit went down, right? On the final season. Yeah, final season part 2 especially. Interesting, right? Going into this is going to be very interesting to see what if the seeds of directing were already there, right? What kind of techniques and ways to display character motivations and show don't tell, what all of these things, how they were already established before stuff like Steins Gate or Tatami Galaxy happened. Obviously, we probably will have a completely different way, like a completely different way the story is made, is set up and all of that. We have an original character designer and an assistant director. Original character designer looks to me... Oh yeah, I think this one was mentioned to me as well, right? Techhnolyze is supposed to be kind of Lane-ish, Serial Experiments Lane. And this character designer also worked on Encounter Ruby, a couple of others. Serial Experiments Lane, key animation, original character design, right? Yeah, we're already in the ballpark, right? We're already in the genre basically. But all of these other ones seem kind of unfamiliar to me, so it's very interesting to see that he worked on a lot of manga stuff, and then has just a handful of anime stuff roles. An assistant director has been working on not that many things. Yeah, a couple of those, Mononoke, a couple of Ghibli stuff. Yes, Monster, episode director of all of the episodes that I have yet to see. So we haven't seen those yet. Interesting. And yeah, that's about it. I think I heard about Usagi Drop. I didn't watch that CG episode on like Berserk. Yeah, I heard that people weren't all that crazy about like the CG Berserk series and whatnot. Never really seen it beyond like a couple of scenes that people kept sharing and whatnot. It's interesting like that you find like in the recommendation you find Lane, you find Neon Genesis. This is right up my alley, so I do hope that I'm in for something interesting. Again, like it was on 2003, and by Studio Madhouse, I do love a couple of like the Madhouse stuff that's been done over the years, especially Free Run lately, which was my first reaction series. And we do have like Madhouse does a lot of varied things, mind you, right? We do have anything from rom-com over fantasy series to, yeah, I mean Overlord is also fantasy, to experimental stuff like Sonny Boy, which I was not that crazy about. Like I loved the art style in the beginning and was kind of like really trippy, but it fizzled out for me. So I think that was one of the anime I actually dropped. Sora Yorimo, all of that stuff. No Game No Life, Zero. Yeah, One Punch Man, of course. Yeah. I mean, Studio Madhouse is definitely a really prolific studio, and I think it can probably deliver a decent amount of interesting content to us. It is not based, like, it seems like an anime original to me. It doesn't seem to be based on any source material that I can see. So, cool. From the cover art, I've not seen this cover art, mind you. Like, the first cover art I've seen of Techhnolyze was like a guy who, like, with the, like, very technified title, and then you have him with a robot arm. So I do assume we're kind of like in a dystopian, gray, dark, dreary. That's what the colors suggest. cyberpunkish world, and beyond that, I don't know a lot. So this is what I'm going into the series with. Here's what we're gonna do for episode 1 and 2. I'm gonna record episode 1 now, and I might record episode 2 right away after that, or I'll record it at another, like on another day. But I will get them out together on Patreon while releasing episode 1 on YouTube at the same time. So we got 1 and 2 as a drop, and then I guess 2 weeks later, right, we're gonna drop 2 and 3 and 4, hopefully. Might be that the week after that I drop 3 and then I drop 4 just for the patrons, and then like the YouTube gets it differently. I gotta kind of find my way to get into the groove of this new experimental bi-weekly release schedule kind of stuff. But at the very least, I do hope that I can promise you'll get at least 1 episode every 2 weeks, hopefully 2. And you will get the episode as I have time, but I'll try to stick to at least every 2 weeks. So it's possible that sometimes I'm like, hey, I had a lot of time, here is the next episode already, the week after that. Or I'm gonna be like, hey, sorry, right, don't have a lot of time. And then after 2 weeks, right, with the bi-weekly rotation, there's gonna just drop normally 1 episode or 2 episodes of Techhnolyze. And I will get through that relatively well then. There might be other weeks and months in which I do more or less, but I'll try to generally stick to that, and hopefully a couple of months we'll be done with this series. I don't know how many months, to be honest, but we'll have to see, right? We'll get in the groove, see how well it does. To be honest, here's the thing. I doubt I will drop this, but let's assume I watch Techhnolyze and like 20 people watch it. I might consider partially shelving it, in a way that I want to do it because it was a request and it was official and all of that, and we're gonna go through that, and I'm gonna definitely release it on YouTube at some point in time. But if the reception is really low and people are really not at all interested in it, I might just do it a little bit more irregularly. Right, just to see what fits in my schedule, what I want to do and whatnot. But as long as this is doing relatively well, and with relatively well I do mean monster levels, because Monster is also not doing all that greatly, but it has a definite like core audience of around 60-ish people who are watching it on a weekly basis when I release them. As long as it has that, I do think that is acceptable, because then we can, as I said, rotate Monster and Techhnolyze, and it's basically the same in terms of like viewership and people that are interested in it. If not, we'll think about something. Maybe I'll talk to Cardboard again and to the people who are actually interested in the series, and we'll figure something out. But right, I doubt I'll drop it because probably it's gonna be relatively interesting for me, and if it is, then I'll probably just watch it anyway, because on my own I would probably continue watching it. But yeah, well, let's get all of that, take it and shove it over there. Organizational crap, whatnot. I know this is boring for some of you. If you're new to this channel, generally this is how I'm gonna do things. I'm gonna have to try and figure out how copyright is on Techhnolyze. If it is very lenient with me, then you will get a lot of the anime with the occasional cutout of boring sequences and whatnot. But it's gonna be an edited reaction, so you can't sync up your copies or whatnot. There will be a PIP, right? A full-length reaction on Patreon for you to enjoy if you are a Patreon supporter of the lowest tier, mind you. You don't need to go in really high or whatever. Right? We'll have 1 week early access at the very least for Techhnolyze, but since it's the same slot as Monster, we probably will have 2 weeks. So depending on what I release, right, it can vary, but you will probably have at least 2 episodes of Techhnolyze to watch on Patreon the moment I release a new episode of Techhnolyze, and at the maximum probably 4 episodes of it. Go check that out. You can look that up on your own, of course. I would love for you to check out the Patreon. Maybe become a free member if you're kind of curious, but you're not sure if you want to join, right? You can become a free member. There's benefits to that as well. We have, for example, the full-length reaction of Monogatari over there on the free memberships, which is a thing I asked my audience about, and they were kind of like just suggesting that would be a thing they would be very interested in. Maybe at this point I actually put it on the lowest tier Patreon. I'll have to look that up, but I think for the time being Monogatari is still on like the normal as free membership Patreon tier. Check out the Discord as well. We talk about stuff occasionally. It's very low in terms of like interactivity and activity, but you'll reach me pretty quickly on that, and probably find some I probably always find some time to kind of just talk to people about interesting topics regarding like the reactions I'm doing, or maybe regarding series that I've already seen in the past. The thing is, at the moment, there's not a high population on the Patreon, but also one benefit of joining the Patreon as well is that oftentimes it's a lot easier for me to actually jump into the the Discord, to jump into the Discord server and be like, hey, by the way, this is what's gonna happen this week, or hey, it's gonna be a delay, or here's what I got planned, stuff like that, and just spitball and be a little bit more impromptu with my announcements, rather than YouTube and Patreon, for which I need to have a dedicated login and then just write my message up and whatnot. And so it's really great for you to reach me in terms of like just discussing things, and it's also really great for me to actually reach you in terms of just like impromptu, just saying something, what's going on, right? If actually there was, I don't know, Monogatari supposed to come out, or Techhnolyze or whatever, and it didn't come out, or it's due to come out, and I'm gonna be like, hey, might delay for a day, don't wait for it, because that always helps me personally when I have like, when I follow a YouTuber or whatnot, and the YouTuber's like, by the way, look, might not come today, and I'm happy about that oftentimes. So yeah, go check that out. And I think that's about it with all of the stuff that I wanted to announce. So let's just jump into it, right? We'll settle down, we calm down a little bit, and we'll just take it in. And do apologize if I'm not talking that much in the first episode. I do think that it is very important. It's very important to actually just take in what's happening. So let's get this party started. Techhnolyze episode 1. It's not 0, right? Yeah, it's episode 1. Oof. Okay, cool. Sound immediately. We'll put in the English subs because this is like something I've put like some dedicated subs in here. I do hope it works. Techhnolyze episode 1 starts in a 3, a 2, a 1, a bam. And we start with the title. It's very low poly. But this is just how it is, right? Oh, it sounds very cyberpunkish to me. Mindless masses kind of deal. Feels like it. We have like the glitchy nature. Of course, we need bikes, we need guns. Ooh, yes. That reminds me of like, what was it called? Ghost Runner, the video game on Steam. I think it was like an indie title. And very trippy too, like almost LSD-ish. I have that tech insert here and there. It seems like it's very, like, the architecture seems very old, though. Very dated. Maybe Eastern European, even. I don't know. Rogue One. Stranger. Okay. My boy doesn't have any clothes. Oh, that sounds promising. I like that angle. One thing about old anime that I absolutely can appreciate is the amazing, immaculate sound design for most of them. We'll talk about it in the discussion later. Because I think there's a reason for that. Old, broken down, we got blood. Our guy looks like he's severely emotionally like apathetic. Some kind of fight? Like a boxing match or something? Also, I notice I think he has both of his human arms. Very interesting. What is that? Oh yeah, he seems to be winning. And then flashes of the crowd. Almost like flashbacks. What is that? What does she want? Lady, can you not do this under the shower? Like, what's happening? This almost feels like Stalker-esque, right? Like, the rust, the metal and whatnot, the way he's like in complete like gear, like the mask and everything. A lot of just metal, bare metal, rust, decay. Alright, so train tracks, intimacy. And a Bunsen burner. Well, yeah. Canned food. That like looks like kind of one of the whatchamacallem with like the of a nuclear reactor or something. Like one of the towers. Ooh, that is trippy. Okay. Covering this. He's just standing there. It's like he's not involved at all. Okay, and this is a different character. Flame fading. Dull imagery. Is she like human? Or is she just like a proxy for somebody? Hmm. Oh yeah, she's a doll. Kinda. Literally. This is unnerving. Oh no, no, please take your... I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And he didn't either. I get you, man. Like, holy shit. Is he okay with his eye? Oh yeah, this is some kind of reactor or something. Where are we? Like, is that liminal space or... Oh no. Okay. Either this is after the fact, or it's in the past. I mean, obviously, you know. It could be both. So many tilted angles. We're playing on a very, like... very old guitar, right? Like one that maybe hasn't been maintained perfectly. At least it feels like that. Hmm. So he got some money, but she is... Did he kill her? Holy fuck. I mean, might not be a human, so it might not matter. A reflection in the water. Alright, so we do spin some connective tissue between the two of them. And who are you? I think you're the one... You might be the one I saw in the Cover art. Holy shit. The first time somebody speaks in this entire fucking episode.
いえ、すみません。いえね、そんな言葉を口にしているあなたを今、頭に思い描いてしまったもので。今は静かです。いつまで続くか。そうですね。ではまたいずれ。
Okay. Again, is she human? They all seem so robotic. Yeah, they all seem like they can communicate via like some internet or some kind of like in their head or whatever, right? Some brain to brain connection. Traditional swords? Oh, this is... I mean, I'm sure this is rust, but it seems like blood. The architecture. And there we go. Or maybe it's not... Yeah, no, it's you. The orange hair is kind of throwing me off, but I think it's because of like the lighting. I do like a lot of these shots. Hmm. Alright, so take off the mask. She's got the deadest stare I've ever seen. He looks the most human in the entire thing. Like, ooh, okay. Broken world vibes. The music. Shit. Some kind of like old factory building. The thing just almost looked like a piece of a submarine or something. Ooh. Sorry about that. An uninvited guest. Hmm. Wonder if he meant, am I the uninvited guest or am I the welcomed one? Why are you a demon? He looks less dead as well. What a transition, what the fuck? Okay. Okay. That's the close of society. Ran. Oh, well, run. Does she have some foresight? Or something? All right. And we snap over to our second protagonist again. He just wanted to off himself, but did he? Or did he just prepare for armed conflict? And this is some kind of organization. Yakuza? Or Yakuza-like? I think the pronunciation is Yakuza. Oh, there's a payment, a punishment for something. For killing the doll. Unimaginable pain. Right. Yeah. Like, how do you compute that at some point? Just shuts out, otherwise you're going crazy, right? And that's it already? Holy shit. Oh, what is this ending? Flowers? A heart? Really hard too. They're actually singing t-shirts. Okay. A rainbow and a splash of water. Alright. I'm tapping nothing. Ooh, is this gonna be a love story? Like soulmate kind of thing? Oh, and this is somebody who is almost like biting an apple or something, right? And that's her. Because that's not her mouth, right? Or maybe it's the flower and then it's right. And she's closing her eyes. Okay. I don't even know if I want to see the preview, to be honest. Okay, that was Techhnolyze, episode 1. What to say to that? One thing I can say is that this is, I think, one of the first times where this is insane. We had like 10, 12 lines of dialogue in the entire 20 minutes. What was it? 23 minutes of the first episode. Wow. Okay, that is impressive. Not that it's just like just a couple of lines of dialogue. I mean, that itself is like pretty unique. But what's impressive about this is that you're still glued to the screen, right? The atmosphere holds you. There's enough intrigue that is being created. And I do definitely see there's a lot of interesting angles. Like, oh, the tilted angles, I do remember it's not in the same context and certainly not with the same atmosphere, but we have a lot of tilted angles and weird perspectives from when it comes to like Steins Gate, for example, as well. And we play with that. Just like how we display things and to make things interesting in between, right? I do realize, like, for example, short spoilers for Steins Gate, when we do have Hoin Gyoma or Okabe coming back from the conference after being humiliated by Kurisu and being like down from that and also from the heat, and he's just drooping and whatnot, and the sun shines down and we're at like a weird angle, or when we first start with like the alpaca man and introducing him and the crew and whatnot, and just like also when I think they're carrying the IBM a little bit later, and there was also one of these angles that were just from down below a little bit, looking at that in a very, very weird and unique way. But yeah, lots to unpack on a visual level, I would say. One thing I can do now, and we're doing that within our allotted time of just post-discussion, I think I'll hold it the way that if I find a lot to talk about, I'm gonna outsource the discussion. And just in case, we're gonna go through a little bit, just talk about it, what I kind of interpret in terms of like what's happening in the plot. I think we can't do too much with that yet. We don't know the people all that much yet. So this is definitely gonna be something that that's gonna be short. So we're gonna do that, and we're making a little bit of a separation of a cut, and then we're going into a art / atmosphere, whatever, directing discussion. I think that is the best we can do. I don't think we're gonna go into voice actors yet, or into like director and other stuff on Analyst. We're not going back there, because I do think that to do that we actually need to hear the fucking main character talk first For fuck's sake. I only know one name, and that's Ran. Okay, dingy atmosphere almost seems like our main character had been in like a fight, and I don't mean like a street fight, I mean more in like a boxing match, basically. It feels very much like he is controlled by outside forces. He does what he is told in order to survive or earn money or whatever, or to not get fucked up, basically. And he's showering after like a bloody match that was a match for survival, basically. And we do see these faces flashing of whoever the spectators are probably gonna be. I do love how everything is kind of just like has a lot of white noise in there, right? Like the old TVs and whatnot, that it feels like very much like he was in a daze while he was doing that. It was just him flashing back. I do want to see what that is, because it's some kind of vial. And I'm not sure what that is. It looks to me like almost syringe-like, but it's on the inside, right? And there's some kind of like brown yellowish fluid in there, and it almost looks like a tiny miniature organ or brain or whatever that is on the very inside of that. It looks and feels super weird. It looks very dystopian future. Well, not futuristic in the classical sense, but very dystopian, definitely. Oh wait, let me actually disable the sound. Yeah. And he's been fighting for hell and whatnot, but he's very emotionless to the outside, right? We do see him, right? You do see him exasperated, so he does have physical bodily functions as an organic being, supposedly, and he's bleeding later, so we can assume that he is a basic human. But at the same time, his entire face is just like no emotional expression. You do see that in various cases of like mental issues. When it comes to individuals that have mental issues, there is one of the symptoms, not one of the symptoms, mind you, of mental issues in general. I mean, some mental issues have one symptom that includes the inappropriate expression of emotions, or the non-expression of it, right? The lack of expression of emotions, which is very interesting. Can be trauma, can be all kinds of things, right? He definitely exudes a very deep sadness and desperation, learned helplessness kind of deal. That's what I'm peaking here, but he is in peak condition here. I find it very interesting that you can see in the directing, you can already see how she approaches him, that this is going to be something sexual, that she is kind of requisitioning him. I didn't see that she was a doll from the get-go. She's drawn very human here. Maybe she's actually a human and the doll later on is actually somebody else. But it seemed very much like she is that doll. And she's just sliding it over him and kind of just touching him with the money right at the same time, which is like, can you not do that in the shower? I said that during it, but it's like, bro. But I do understand, I think, the reason for the shower, which is like whenever the water's dropping from his hair, it feels like the actual intent of the scene is the drop of water is actually one of his tears, but he can't cry, so we have to express that in a different way. Yeah. And then we have this other character, a little bit older, right? He seems like more he's in his 20s, 25, right? Almost 30 maybe. And this guy seems he's like more in his mid-30s, maybe 40 even. He has a mustache. He's kind of just walking in this very rusty irony industrial complex. It seems like it's basically the shaft of a reactor and you're just walking down. Almost like there's like a secret society in there. He has a mask on and everything, so this is protective gear. It feels like this environment is hazardous in some way, shape, or form, be that radiation, be that poison, be that something else, right? Or right, just the air in general. And we do keep seeing these train tracks, right? The train tracks leading somewhere. And I do feel like in the beginning we don't, I can't quite interpret what the train tracks are supposed to mean. The only thing I can connect that is later on, like all of these people arriving per train and passing our main character, right, being searching for him and actually capturing him and then mutilating his, like cutting off his arm. And we do create this rustic atmosphere, like survival, right? We do have canned food that we're warming up over like a Bunsen burner. The interesting thing about like this, I want to take the scene apart in the discussion portion, because I feel like when I want to quickly say something to it, and that is that it feels very non-sexual, while at the same time clearly displaying a sexual act, right? You do not feel anything when looking at it in terms of like arousal or sexuality or whatnot. It is almost sterile, and it feels very cold emotionally. Obviously the color of the entire scene helps, the way he, like his stance is and how he's shown and expressed. I do wonder how this old person fits into that, because we do see that she's a doll, and I was hypothesizing that she's kind of almost a proxy for whoever is watching this. I don't know if that's the case, or if the person watching this is just like, because I do feel like there's a person watching it, right? It does feel that way. Also that the connection between the last scene with the sexual, then the train tracks, and then him eating, especially with the focus on the mouth, feels like very, very gross in a way. And the fire fading out also feels like the last couple, like even the last flicker of emotion died out of the scene, kind of. And then we have this weird display thing where it's like, okay, maybe somebody is actually watching through the point of view of that doll. And that is where I got like the idea that maybe the person watching is actually this guy. I think it was like maybe I'm just tripping, but I think there was an older guy sitting somewhere, or maybe it's him. And I did peek that wrong, because it felt very much like maybe the doll has a camera or something, and that's how the person is watching. Yeah, this guy there. This is kind of like, it feels weird because there's other shapes in front of him, right? There's other shapes in front of him that don't seem like the doll in him, doll in our main character. But we do keep flashing between the two of them, especially here. We do have that flash from his, wait. Yeah, oh yeah, he's watching through the doll, right? Okay, interesting. Watching a sexual act of like possibly a human or an android or something, or a doll-like being. Right, we see later on it's robot parts, so the question is that an actual like living being, or is it just a doll, right, a mechanical doll or whatnot? And it's very interesting how we are very minimalist in our approach, and all of this entire atmosphere, like the radiation that goes out from it, and then we start with like a pure white. Right, and then we set the scene from there. Another person steps into our world, and then the world around us forms. But we're still at like a very tilted angle, which a lot of these shots are super interesting the way they're tilted, because I feel like they're supposed to make us feel uneasy in this world, right? And also they're supposed to be kind of interesting. We do have a lot throughout this story, a lot of catacomb kind of buildings, a lot of repetitive underground structures and archways and whatnot. A lot of stuff that feels like it used to be buildings that people inhabited, and then at some point it just got abandoned, and it's been abandoned for decades. And it's just decaying in general. A lot of dirt, right? Or maybe it's been unfinished and it never got finished completely. A lot of this feels like, in architecture, feels like very Eastern or European. You don't see that kind of architecture, I feel, in America, and you don't see it as much in Japan as well, so it feels like that. And we see Ran for the first time. Very bright red hair, the fox mask, whatever it means, right? We have like I know there's some connection to yokai and whatnot. And this is the first line of dialogue that we have in the entire fucking anime. I'm like, What the fuck, show? What the fuck? I was waiting all that for dial, but it didn't happen. I'm listening. Yeah, I think so. Yes, I think so. It's very interesting. It's like, I'm listening, yes, I think so. Right? I'm listening, yes, I think so. Is that spoken by the same person or by different people? Let me just peek that for a second. Oh yeah, it's lol. I did it a little bit too quickly. Right. Let me just slow that down. Yeah, this is a telephone, right, this is a telephone call. And then we're going on to, oh, I'm sorry, well, I was just imagining you actually saying that. Right, so maybe this could mean a couple of things, right? On the one hand, it could mean, like, I was just imagining you standing before me and saying that, right? Can be that. Or, yeah. I mean, I think this is what it means, right? Oh no, saying that in my head. Right, so I was imagining in my head that you said that to me in person, or alternatively, I was imagining you saying that inside of my head. So possible hint to that we have like brain-to-brain conversations. It's quiet now, but I wonder how long it will last. Right? Politically, the city, right? In general, whatnot. Or inside of your head, right? I understand. I guess I'll be seeing you soon. So people see each other, right? Very interesting if that, wonder if that is an actual human being, right? Like his wife, secretary, whatnot. He seems very, like, rich corporation-like, or, right? The way he lounges, it feels like he is very free of worries in a clearly dystopian world where everybody else seems very stressed and tense and sad and whatnot. Seems very relaxed in that regard. And this person also seems relatively relaxed, almost to the degree that she looks like a robot. So that is why I was like, is she actually real as a human being? And we do see that this is the first glimpse that we have of like an on-screen display HUD kind of thing. I can't identify anything that's going on here, but he clearly is seeing that, right? And it's like a movie playing in front of his eyes. Like, there's symbols, data structures, right? This could be like bits, bytes, data points, whatever. It could represent all kinds of things that we're not sure we're like, holy shit, that flashing in between. Right. I mean, I can't make heads or tails of that yet. But it's certainly, there's certainly a lot of interesting things happening here. Maybe he's just checking out different scenes, right? Like if you have like surveillance systems going on and whatnot, maybe he's connected to actually following our main character and getting him to like, right? Or he's connected to following Ran and actually trying, right, to go in there because they had also some kind of attack going on there. We ended with the train tracks and like the big construction things. Interestingly enough, I think this is our main character. This seems like our main character, and we're flashing to him in like an operations room or something where we do see a lot of like robot hands going on. He almost looks like a patient in like a wheelchair. I mean, this could be, no, this could actually also be our other character that we just saw. Let me actually check that out for a second. No, he's too old for that, unless we're flashing back to him being young or whatnot. Yeah. No, this feels like it's our character. And we do have that little sword hilt hint. This is the person who later on chops him. Like, I find it very interesting that we have like a world that is modern enough to have robot arms and whatnot, and desolate enough to be like probably in the future where some catastrophe or whatever happened, and at the same time or some decay kind of state, but at the same time we're using traditional weapons, which on the one hand this could be a display of just traditional values, right, fancies of the character themselves. it could, but it could also just mean that the character, guns are not as readily available, and that we need additional arms in case our guns fail, and we can't just get more guns, right, to back that up. Yeah, all of these like repeating structures are insane, right? It's making you loopy, kind of. And those two characters, like our middle-aged man, old man is easier to say, but let's say middle-aged man because that's what he is. Middle-aged man and Ran is actually, they're meeting, and she beckons him to come along. We do have like this almost blood-red river and whatnot, and they're arriving with the train at this whatever lake that is. It seems very like rusty. It's not quite bloody, but it creates like a bloody atmosphere, right? And it seems very industrial, rusty, and polluted and whatnot. Again, we find interesting angles all along, and we keep flashing between like our two possibly main characters. It's getting dark, and he's supposedly, right, he's supposed to meet. He climbed down the shaft, and now he is in, I don't know, secret society land? I'm not sure. All of these pipes and old, seemingly old underground buildings. Maybe underground railway, right? Like metro style if you've played the games or read the books or whatever. Very much like, feels like an old game, kind of like playing an old game. Like I would expect something like that out of a Thief or something. It's very interesting. But we have Koi, interestingly enough. We have Koi. This is like the first person, other than our middle-aged guy, who feels more like a human. Even Ran seems very mechanical or very autistic, for the lack of a better term. She's very expressionless at the very least. It's very like, maybe autistic is not the right way. Autistic is not synonymous with expressionless. More like robotic, she seems, right? So robotic or stunted in emotional development, emotional expression, whatnot, right? And we find like a couple of seconds later or minutes later, we do find out that she has, yeah, right here, we're going over into the lamp. Nice transition. And interestingly enough, some person, right, she sees, I think that the implication is that she sees that, right? She sees these scenes flashing. And maybe she sees a glimpse of our main character here, who is like breathing heavily and clutching a pistol, which I'm like, are you clutching the pistol because you know that you're gonna get busted any second and you're getting yourself ready to possibly shoot at people, or did you want to end it all, right? That is, both is possible. It was like, it's also possible you wanted to end it and then like he gets shot at and his survival instinct kicks in and whatnot. Right, yeah, and she's breathing. And he's like, you came here at a bad time, right? Because she had some kind of vision of one of them dying. I think that was, yeah, that was him. Yeah, exactly. But she doesn't express that in words, right? If she even can talk. Came here at a very bad time, run, hide you. I mean, she understands language at the very least. So either she's mute or, yeah, you know. She just doesn't like to talk. That's also a possibility. Soul, body, truth, salvation's vengeance. Okay, what the hell? What kind of culture is this? Okay, we have soul, right? Soul and body, right? Are they a unity? Is the body a vessel for the soul, right? Or is it a prison, right? We do have these ideas. Truth and salvation. Right? Liberation, right? Liberating the soul from the body as a truth, as a salvation for a person, because this world is kind of, right, broken. Vengeance. But vengeance, what does vengeance mean? Vengeance for what? Vengeance for who? Right? Are these factions that were or are fighting? Right? What is going on here? And he supposedly, I think he wants to shoot it on. And probably our old guy jumps in the way. I can imagine that. He feels like a kind of grandpa mentor kind of deal to her, and it's really great how we changed like from from the pistol shot to it ricocheting kind of off like a metal pipe or some kind of thing, rubble flying, and then we see we think it goes on, right? But we see like our main character running, and we do feel that the moment we realize that it's our main character is when automatic fire is actually going on, because we only saw one guy with a pistol in the other scene with Ran. And in this scene, we actually see like automatic fire, and we see the same thing that happened earlier on when he was clutching the pistol and then turning around, which is like the walls of like the paper thin walls of the factory being blown open by machine gun fire. But even there's like armed conflict and whatnot. He's getting shot and falling down, and our guy knows how to shoot a pistol. All right, cool. Half the face. And this is an imposing shot, right? Almost like mafia type deal, or I don't know. I'm reminded of like Fallout New Vegas or something, right? Like the beginning. But this is punishment. It's like you betrayed us and we're gonna, right? And it's possibly for him just right throwing off the doll who was sexually gratifying herself, either herself or through proxy somebody else who was inside of her, with him him being forcefully prostituted, I guess. Oh yeah, oh no, she's not dead. Huh? Okay, weird. So either that is, oh yeah, it might actually be her experiencing that through a doll-like thing, right? She wants to do that. And she's kind of like a ringleader or something. But it's kind of weird because I feel like almost she wouldn't have that mark from his punch if she wasn't in the scene exactly. Although it might be that this is just a scar and I'm confusing that, and that's just how it is. We'll have to find out. But either way, she's kind of like a boss person, right? A very influential person. And this is insane, like how we distort the image and whatnot. And we go over to like the ED with like a rose and like some kind of love song ending on an image of her. Like, I want to see you again and whatnot. So I do wonder if they're gonna meet, right? I do wonder if they're gonna meet down the line. It's gonna be like, hey, we're gonna get to know each other probably without a lot of talking. With decent amount of gesturing. Probably a goal that connects us in a way. I do wonder if our middle-aged guy is actually also part of the team, the party, whatever. Yeah, because for him, like, he seems way too important, right? The way he got introduced and whatnot. Yeah, that was the discussion of Techhnolyze, episode 1. I am trying to set up a more in-depth discussion, so if that discussion takes more than 10 minutes, I would say. If it takes more than 10 minutes, this is going to be in a separate video and it's going to be right here. And also at the end of the credits and in the description and all that jazz. If not, you'll probably be seeing me in like a second or something like that. Me just flashing over there. So, yeah, either way, check it out and I'll see you soon.